Why am I so boring? Why does nobody like me? Why did my dad leave me? It's probably because you're playing the same old boring chord progressions. This is how you can 10x your chord progressions to go from this to this by using one simple concept. Now, in order to understand secondary dominant chords, we must first go over primary dominant chords. In a key, there is always a primary dominant chord, that being the 5 chord. So, in the key of C major, for example, the 5 chord is G. The 5 chord creates a strong feeling of tension and anticipation, which naturally resolves to the tonic chord. In order to create a primary dominant chord, simply construct a major chord, or a dominant 7th chord, on the 5th degree of the scale. We use these dominant chords to create tension and release. Now, how do we use this information to create actually interesting and colorful chord progressions? Secondary dominant chords acts just like the primary dominant, but instead of resolving to the one chord, it resolves to another diatonic chord. So for example, in the key of C major, we might use D7 to move from C to G. D7 is the dominant chord of G, basically the dominant of the dominant. Here is an example of using the dominant of a diatonic chord to create tension and release. As you can hear, this makes the move from 1 to 5 way more interesting and complex, making your chord progression more colorful. You can also use this for minor chords. Listen to this move from C major to A minor. Simple, colorful, beautiful. It makes my ears tingle with excitement. Even your old grumpy neighbor would wipe tears of nostalgia off his unwashed, crusty face when hearing that. The E7 catches your ear because it's not in the key, but it makes sense when it resolves to A minor, which is in the key. Once you know what to listen for, you'll start hearing secondary dominants everywhere, from jazz and classical to pop and film scores. Now, what if I told you? It doesn't stop there. You could string multiple secondary dominant chords together for dramatic effect, eventually resolving back to the one chord. In this example, we play E7, that being the 5 of the 6th chord, to A7, the 5 of the 2 chord, to D7, the 5 of the 5 chord, to the G7 chord, that being the primary dominant to the 1 chord, eventually resolving back to C major. If you want to go even crazier, you could use a tritone substitution for your secondary dominant. So, after C major, instead of playing E7 to A minor, you could play B flat dominant to A minor. This is the kind of wet dreams music theory nerds are way too familiar with. On the topic of tritone subs, make sure to sub to the channel if you found this video entertaining or informative. Let me know if there is any other topic you want me to talk about. And with that, goodbye.